The sun shines its rays across the green that fills the forest. A solo, simply a speck of dust next to the zergs that wage war across the land. A peaceful pursuit back to my warm and cozy home. Unknown to me, a cheater, watching me closely, watching my every move with rose-colored glasses, because to him, it's just a game, but to me, it's survival. I have no chance against players with a cheating advantage. I may not be the one to stop him, but the rest gods, they were watching, and they decided to take matters into their own hands. And so here is where my story begins. Uncertain of what's to come, in hopes of a wipe full of peace and comfort. So I began running in the direction that leads me furthest from the spawn beach. If you're new to the channel, I hope you take a second and subscribe. And to my usual viewers, thank you so much for watching. And a special thank you to my YouTube members. Along the way, I had a sense of deja vu, and then this happened. Just like that, I was back on the beach, but when I spawned, I recognized his name. It was him, the same guy who killed me, and so I quickly made a run for it. I knew for certain he had a gun, and having that in my possession would be the greatest revenge. And in the dark, I looked, and eventually I found his body. And this is what he had. In a panic, I collected everything. But out in the open, I was so vulnerable. I knew I needed to build something to preserve this loot. And so, I built a temporary 1x1 and secured everything inside. When the sun came up, I began collecting wood, because it was time to build an actual base. And when I was ready, I grabbed my tools and I began building. The location I built in was a little tricky because there were 2 train tracks that intersected very close to where I built. So oftentimes, trains would pass by and I would hide because I didn't want to get caught building and lose my resources. Nodes didn't spawn near me, so I had to travel for them. But luckily, there was a mountain nearby that spawned a lot of nodes. Stone, and metal mostly. So I would travel there periodically and collect as much as I could. The first thing I did with the stone was upgrade any wood. After filling my furnaces, I decided to get more wood. I needed to give my furnaces time to smelt metal. The most important thing to me right now was upgrading my wooden door to a metal one. At this point, I grabbed a pistol and I went out roaming, and literally not 2 squares from my base, this happened. In this moment, I thought I picked this gun up, but my inventory was full. And with my heart racing, I tried to find his gun, but couldn't find it, and so I cut my losses and rushed home. After dropping off what I had a weird feeling I was being watched, so I decided to take the pistol and circle the base. To my surprise, there was someone. Clearly, he was going to door camp me. And knowing this, I knew it was time to upgrade the base. After upgrading, I decided to grab a bow and some tools, and to head out and gather as much resources as I could. And on my way back home, I heard footsteps. I tried to be friendly with this guy, but I couldn't tell if he was carrying a weapon on his hip. But sometimes you just have to take a chance.
If you stay a little bit back, I'll give you some stuff. Okay. Hold on, dude. I'm gonna give you some things, okay? Here. That's for you, man.
Just like that, peace was made. I didn't have enough scrap to research any of my guns, and I knew that going underground was a great way of getting a lot of scrap very quickly. So I took a chance. I grabbed a bow and a lot of arrows, and I made my way down. As you all already know, the elevator at Outpost tends to always have trouble waiting.
Lista gandun.
I thought I had dodged the chaos, and I probably shouldn't have stepped off the elevator, because then this happened. I tried to make my way down to the bottom as quickly as I could, but this player obviously spent a lot of time on this elevator, and after a strange series of events, I died. And after reflecting on my experience, I came to the conclusion that this wipe didn't start the way I would have hoped it would. I had guns, and I could easily snowball from where I currently stand, but it just felt off. And so the next time I opened my eyes, I was submerged underwater in a new server, a brand new solo, facing a whole new adventure. But this time, I was going to live out my wipe the Orange Dream way. Footprints in the sand. Many years have come and gone. Players like you and me have laid here, stood here, and began stories that will forever remain engraved in the history of Rust. As for me, this is my second go at a peaceful wipe. And I have to say, things changed drastically. Some things are unsteady and often change in this world. Day turns to night, and all you have left is a spark of fire to keep you safe from the dangers outside. But as every nightfall drops below the edges of the earth, the sun rises to counter that darkness with a warm and gentle glow. Here we are again on the beach, a brand new journey ahead of us. The first thing on my mind was collect wood. I had plans of building something very cozy. I wouldn't necessarily need stone or metal. Mostly, I would just need wood. Next to harbor, I noticed a small island. From the distance, it didn't seem like anyone was there. But as I approached, I noticed there was someone here, but they had either abandoned their base or been raided. There was a tugboat nearby, but I hadn't seen it move. So I grabbed my tools and I started building. If you're new to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe. I post chill content like this every week. After building the first floor of my base, I decided to spawn on the mainland and loot while it was still dark. I was still in need of a lot of wood, so I took advantage of the small wooden scraps laying around the island. Maybe that would be enough to help me continue building. Now, my first objective was to open up part of the roof so I could expand upward. Initially, I had a different idea in mind, but to me, this is much more comfortable. And with the new opening, I continued to expand my base. In between building, I would make periodic runs to harbor and the neighboring roads to loot as much as I could. I had plans to make this base very cozy, but to do that, I would need resources, and so the grind continues. While I was here, I decided to use this oil refinery to get a little bit of low grade. As soon as I was done recycling, I dived into the water and made my way back home. I love the openness of this base style, and with my new furniture, I was feeling like a true solo king. Especially when night came, I could feel the warmness in my heart. When the sun came up, I went out to do some farming. With my new knife, I needed to add a little bit of decoration to my trophies. And when this foggy day turned to night, I kept my lantern burning inside. As I sat in my rocking chair, admiring the moon and the reflection it left against the water. This type of wipe is exactly what makes Rust the perfect game for me. I choose to play this way. I choose to be cozy and comfortable. I choose to let the wipe take its course and not stress. This is my solo paradise. This would be my last run outside of my island for the wipe. And as I swam back home, I felt as though this wipe was simple, but in reality, I lived a whole nother life not too long before this, on a different server. But right now, I was happy. And with a guitar in hand, I began to play and closely listen to the sounds of the ocean, the sounds of the waves crashing against the shore, the silence of the night, only interrupted by a calming tune. I was starving, so I started cooking some food. Not only was the sight of fire putting me at ease, but the sound that it produced was calming. It's hard for me to pinpoint what type of Rust player I am. I'm not simply a role player. I'm not simply a farmer. And I'm not a PvP Chad. I don't know where I fall. Let me know down in the comments how you would describe this style. And I'd love to know, have you adopted it? What would you do to live a solo life of peace? How many of you have tried and failed? How many of you have failed but tried again? This channel is small, I know, but I feel like I know each and every one of you that comments. We've created a world of our own. Rust is for everyone, but this type of life is only for the few with patience, the few with resilience. We will grow, and we will succeed in our own way. Rust gods are my witness. I will never back down until this peaceful existence is exposed to every eye. This life is possible, and we will live it until the end. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my YouTube members, dreamers. Without you, this channel would not exist. I cherish every single one of you. This is the end of this series. I'll see you guys here next week for a brand new journey. You've been watching an Orange Dream production.